Well, let's continue our lecture. If we have a plane stress or plane strain model, and then we perform analysis using a computer, and then what the result expected? The displacements to express the deformation of the body, and also the internal stresses, right? And normally, if we work in Cartesian coordinates, the internal stresses are expressed in terms of Cartesian components. That's sigma x, sigma y, and tau xy, right? But in practice, we often need to express the stress results in terms of principal stresses or von Mises stress. Okay. For example, uh, I wrote a MATLAB codes for running plane strain, plane stress. Later you will learn also that in my code that I wrote, the stresses have option to display the stresses, whether in Cartesian components, principal stresses, and von Mises stress. So let's now discuss a little bit or review about what are these stresses, okay? Because I think this is important. Well, let's begin with the principal stresses. Maybe you ever learn about this, I believe, when you took undergraduate course called mechanical mechanics of materials, for example. So, can you recall what are these? What are the principal stresses? And maybe you may recall also that corresponding to the principal stresses, there exists principal uh, angles. Okay, principal angles. Okay, can you remember? Well, principal stresses are the maximum and minimum normal stresses. Well, as you know, if we work in Cartesian coordinates x, y, then the stresses expressed in the stress components expressed in terms of Cartesian components, sigma x, sigma y, tau xy, if that's plane stress, okay? And then we may want to rotate for some reasons the coordinate, okay, from the normal x, horizontal x and y to an angle theta. And if we rotate, the stress components will change. And from the theory of the stress tensor, there we know that there exists for some angles where the normal stress becomes maximum or minimum. Okay, that's principal stresses, and the angles that makes the stresses maximum and minimum, that's called principal angles. So principal angles is the angle that define the normal of the plane on which the maximum or minimum principal stress acts. Okay. Actually, this is not only one angles because there are two angles. Okay. Here an illustration. So if this is the original axis, Cartesian axis, and then if we rotate, there's axis pair of angles, theta P1, theta P2 in this picture, where the stress, normal stress, maximum, and other is minimum. The difference of this angle always 90 degrees. When the stress maximum and minimum, the shearing stress on these faces or these surfaces are zero. Okay. How to obtain the maximum and minimum stresses? We can do it using, if in 2D, we can do it using stress diagrams called more circles, and then we looking for the maximum stress there, okay? Or we may use the following formulae. So this is sigma 1 given by the phrase of the normal stress plus the square root of the difference, the half the difference of the normal stress square plus shearing stress square. This is normally referred to maximum stress, and this is sigma 2 to the minimum stress. This is in plane stress condition, right? We only have two normal stresses, and sigma z is 0. And the angles that makes them is given by this one, okay? Tan tangent to theta p equals this one divided by this one, okay? And there are two angles actually. Separate two theta p separate with 180 degrees or pi radian, okay? And because two theta p is separated by 180 degrees, theta p, of course, the difference is between the principal angles is 90 degrees. One is the maximum, the others is the minimum. Okay, so it's perpendicular each other. Well, if we draw more circles that you learn in mechanics material, it's clear that for some angles, there's also exists where the shearing stress is maximum. And indeed, we can observe using a more circles. You may refer to your previous sub course of mechanics materials that for a plane stress condition, the maximum shearing stress is given by this one. Okay, so the difference between sigma max and minus then sigma min. Okay, one half the difference. And indeed, this equals to this one. Okay, so this one is actually the maximum shearing stress, the square root of this one. Okay, and the angles that make the angles of the plane that make the shearing stress maximum is the difference with the principal angles is 45 degrees. Okay, so 45 degrees. So if this theta is principal angles, then the shearing stress is 45 degrees from this one. I mean, you may bisect this, and then we have 45 degrees. Then that where the planes, that's the plane where the shearing stress, maximum shearing stress occurs. Okay, I think this principal stress, both shearing stress and normal stress are important in practice because some criteria of material failure is based on this. Okay, maximum shear stress or maybe maximum normal stress. Okay, that's in the plane stress condition or plane stress state. How about a body in plane strain state? Recall that if in a plane stress strain state, uh, we have actually three components of normal stress: sigma x, sigma y, and sigma z. How to obtain the principal stresses? And the principal stress, there are three also. Consists of maximum stress and minimum stress as given by this formula and sigma z. And then we may uh, reorder of these stresses from the largest to the smallest value, and we denote them as sigma 1, sigma 2, and sigma 3, right? And then the maximum shear stress is given by the maximum, the largest sigma 1, and minus the lowest one half of this one. That's the maximum stresses, normal stresses, and shearing stress in plane strain condition. Okay. So actually we have alternative way of displaying outputs of stresses. We may express them in Cartesian, sigma x, sigma y, tau xy, or in principal stresses. Okay, normally this one, sigma 1, sigma 2, and also the angles. So if we run a software, normally there is option of this. Okay, that's about principal stresses and the corresponding maximum shearing stress. You may refer again to your lecture of mechanics of materials for the details of the derivation of this formula. Okay, or you may read from my book. Well, let's now talk a little bit, just a brief overview of the von Mises stress. Well, aside from principal stresses, your software also may have an option to display the stresses in terms of what's so-called von Mises stress. What are this? What is this? Well, von Mises stress, or more completely von Mises-Encke stress, appears in the failure theory of materials or in plasticity theory. Okay, basically, uh, this theory, which is also called the maximum distortion energy theory, predicts that a material will fail if an equivalent or effective stress called von Mises stress reaches the yield stress of the material. And this theory works well for ductile materials such as metals, in particular steel. Okay, as you know, if we test ductile material, metal, steel, for example, we test using a tension, right? So this is we pull the steel until failure, and then we measure the strain and stresses. Okay, and then from the stress strain diagrams, we may identify the yielding stress. That's we test in the condition of uniaxial tension. However, in practice, of course, the stresses most probably is not uniaxial. For example, in plane stress and plane strain problems, the stress is multi-axial actually, okay, or triaxial in plane strain. So how to predict? The question is how to predict under the multi-axial stress conditions, including the shearing stress, the material is yielding. That's the theory. This theory addresses that problem. So, von Mises stress is defined as given in this formula. Okay, regarding the derivation of this is quite long, so it's not out of the scope of this lecture. Okay, but this is the final results. This is so we convert the principal stresses sigma 1, sigma 2, sigma 3 into one quantity only, that von Mises stress. 1 over square root 2, the difference of the each principal stresses square, and then square root. Or we may also express the von Mises stress in terms of the Cartesian components, okay, like this. So the square of the difference of the normal stress plus 6 square of the shearing stress, all components of the shearing stress, square root. Okay. Well, this theory predicts material will yields if the effective von Mises stress exceeds the yielding stress in based on uniaxial tension test. Okay, that's basically like this. So kind of converting the stress to one quantity, right? That's the benefits of the von Mises stress. We may have many components of stress, and then we convert into one useful information, that's von Mises stress. Okay, let's take a look for uh, one example here. Suppose we have a plane strain model. The materials made from A136 steel. It's ASTM standard. Okay, with the yielding stress, let's say 245 megapascal for this steel, and then let's say that we perform a computer analysis for this model, and then we found that at a particular point, the stress states given by these Cartesian components. So the normal stress in x direction 180 is in tension. but the compression is minus 50 in compression and the shearing stress 10 megapascal at this point. The question is, under this state of stress, that is multi-axial, right, and including shearing stress, uh, the steel already at that point already yielding or not yet? That's we can answer using von Mises theory. Okay, so this is the answer. First, we know that this is plane strain, so we need to compute the third component, sigma z. This is Poisson ratio. This is sigma x minus plus sigma y. That's sigma z in plane strain condition, right? It's 39 megapascal. And then we can now compute the effective von Mises stress, 1 over square root 2, the difference of the normal stress, sigma x and sigma y. So this is the difference. And then square, then the difference of sigma y and sigma z and sigma x square, and then plus 6 shearing stress square. This is following this formula, right? 6 shearing stress square. This is of course 0, right? Or 0. So computing this, we obtain the result 201.6 megapascal. And we know that it's still below the yielding stress, that's 245 megapascal. Thus, we can conclude based on this theory that the material, or the steel in this case, has not reached yielding state. Okay, that's all about uh, principal stresses and von Mises stress. See you on next lecture.